If your hips don't feel as stable as they used to, you're not imagining it. And it's not just part of getting older. There's a real reason this starts happening, and most people never get told what it is. You might notice it when you walk, when you turn, or even when you climb the stairs. That's not just a balance problem. That's what happens when the muscles on the side of your hips stop doing their job. And most people assume this is about how their body looks. But weak hips affect how your body moves. And that's a different kind of problem with a different fix. This doesn't happen overnight. It builds slowly in the background until one day you feel it in your movement. And once you understand what's actually going on, you can start to change it. Your steps don't feel as controlled as they used to. You might notice a slight shift in your balance when you walk, or a moment of hesitation when you turn. It's subtle at first, but you can feel it. Stairs can start to feel less stable, too. You may feel less steady going up, or less confident coming down. And without realizing it, your body begins to compensate just to keep you moving the way you used to. Your knees start taking more of the load. Your lower back works harder to keep you upright. And over time, both areas begin to pay the price for something that started much further up. This is how small changes turn into real limitations. Not all at once, but slowly, through the quiet ways your body adapts. And if nothing changes, your movement becomes something you manage rather than something you trust. This comes down to one muscle most people never think about, your glute medius. It sits on the side of your hips, and its job is to keep your pelvis stable every time you move. When it's working well, you don't notice it. When it's not, everything else has to compensate. And that compensation is exactly what you've been feeling. The unsteadiness, the hesitation, the extra effort, that's your body working around a muscle that stopped pulling its weight. This usually comes from spending too much time sitting and not enough time moving side to side. Over time, the glute medius just stops firing the way it should, and your body quietly reorganizes itself around that gap. Think about your day for a moment. Sitting at a desk, driving, watching TV. Most of your time is spent in positions where your hips aren't really working. In those positions, your glute medius barely activates. There's no need to stabilize you, no side-to-side movement, no weight shifting. And when a muscle stops getting used, it quietly gets weaker. Not suddenly, but in the background, over time. That's why this shows up later in life. Not because your body suddenly changed, but because of the patterns you've been repeating every day. And once you see that pattern, you can start to break it. The good news is, this isn't something you need to push through or force. You don't need heavy weights, and you don't need complicated workouts. In fact, trying to do too much too soon usually makes things worse. What your body actually needs is much simpler. It needs the right muscle to start working again. And once that muscle starts firing, your stability, control, and confidence in movement all begin to come back. So instead of working harder, you're going to work more precisely. Small, controlled movements done the right way. And that's exactly what we're going to start with next. Before we get into the exercises, there's one important thing to check.